We turn now to a follow-up on a story from 2020. Media reports focused on a North Texas teacher and a coach. A student had accused him of inappropriate behavior. He says attorneys advised him to stay quiet at the time. So here we are 3 years later. The charges have now been dropped. The case is expunged, and he wants to be heard now. I-Team reporter Ginger Allen here tonight to share with you the rest of the story.
Doug, first and foremost, we want to start with this. Victims need to come forward, and we never want to discourage them. In this case, I talked to the now 20-year-old who continues to claim she was touched inappropriately. She stands by her story 100%, but did not want to talk on camera. We'll talk more about her in a few minutes. But the teacher and coach here also stands by his story 100%. He says he is the victim of false accusations that will never go away. September 2020.
UNT's quarterbacks coach, Tate Wallace, now is on administrative leave.
On air.
The first allegation of inappropriate behavior was made by a student.
And in headlines, improper relationship, felony arrest, put on leave. Tell me the first thing that goes through your mind.
Sick to my stomach. And how in the world could anything like this ever happen? Couldn't get a job. Can't pass the background check.
For 2 years, Tate Wallace, a former SMU quarterback, had been a teacher and football coach at Argyle High School.
The boys would have been 9 and 5, I think, years old.
In 2020, excited to return to college ball, he moved on to coach at the University of North Texas. You were in a good place in your life.
Great place. Great wife. She loves teaching in Argyle. No complaints.
But with one phone call, their world came to a screeching halt.
I might get choked up a little bit.
What just upset you right then?
It's been buried for 3 years, you know. But it was my wife's birthday. It was August 28th, 2020. We were actually headed to eat dinner for her birthday when I got the call.
A 16-year-old student football trainer accused him of alleged inappropriate behavior, repeatedly touching her during several of Argyle's 2019 football practices and games. By September of 2020,
I turned myself in.
He faced 2 felony indictments: improper relationship between educator and student, and indecency with a child. You and I have talked a couple of times off camera. I didn't expect this.
I didn't either. This is the first time that I've opened up and talked about it to anybody probably outside of family. I want to put it in perspective because there are people that have it a lot worse off than I do. But by the same token, there's a whole nother side to that story. I mean, everything that you see in the headlines or when somebody Googles my name, it's not true.
Wallace has given us notes, court documents, and practice and game videos. You primarily blame 2 people. The person who accused you and the person at the school who pursued it.
I don't blame the girl. They failed her. She cried for help. By and large, kids need help, right? In my mind, as a coach, because I had to do this several times, and as a teacher, I got to go meet that kid where they're at. I got to go find out what's going on, and then I need to do a good job, a thorough job of vetting everything. So in my mind, I blame one person.
Wallace blames Paul Kearney, at the time the police chief of Argyle ISD. He says the chief did not thoroughly investigate the girl's claims.
He never interviewed a single player. He never interviewed a single coach. He never interviewed my boss, the athletic director, who was there when all this allegedly happened.
Kearney did not want to discuss the case on camera, but this affidavit states he interviewed the victim. He does not note interviewing anyone else. Argyle ISD sent the I-Team a statement saying it investigated with several other agencies, including the Department of Family Protective Services. This document from DFPS states there was reason to believe the teenager's allegations.
But the charges against Wallace were eventually dropped. Both Wallace and the teenager, now 20 years old, tell me the prosecution made that offer to Wallace in exchange for him surrendering his teaching license. Fast forward 3 years to May of this year, the case was expunged, but Wallace says his questions are not erased. He's asking, did Argyle ISD interview anyone else? What is the district's policy for investigating? And did the Argyle ISD police chief ever watch the practice and game videos where this allegedly happened?
Didn't watch a video of practice, didn't watch the Sanger game, didn't watch any of that stuff.
How do you know?
Well, I'm not going to out anybody with names, but he has to go ask for the video from football coaches. That's how I know.
Why would this man have done this?
I have nothing in my teacher file that would raise any flags. Why didn't he investigate it? I don't know.
For the people out there watching that would say, there's no way this girl could just make all of this up, what do you say to them?
If somebody said there's no way this could happen, I absolutely wish that were true, because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
And what is the reason you decided to talk to us?
To clear my name. I've read many a headline that said teacher accused of improper relationship with a student. And every time you see that, most of the time there's something there, right? There's a message on social media. There's a text message. There's a phone call. In this case, there's nothing. There's nothing on a video. None of that exists.
When you look out here, what do you think?
Following our interview, Wallace took us back to the Argyle Stadium.
Do you feel welcome when you come back here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
His wife and 2 sons by his side.
Do you want to be back out there?
And I'd be lying if I said I didn't, but there is a part of it, all of it, that makes you gun shy, because you're wondering who's around the next corner that can say something and ruin your life.
So we wanted to know how common allegations of an inappropriate relationship or communication with a student are. And this is what we got from the Texas Education Agency. It tells us in the last 2 years, there have been 801 accusations in Texas. A little less than half of those at 321 are still pending. Of those resolved, which is 480, more than 70% of these cases led to sanctions. And then a little less than 30% of the cases, which is that 136 number, did not have enough evidence.
And talk to us a little bit more about the others you contacted in regards to the story. What did they have to say?
Okay, several others that were involved. The Argyle ISD police chief, who is no longer in the state of Texas, initially said he'd consider an interview, but then Doug, later he told me he couldn't answer my questions because this case was expunged. And then that was the same reason the prosecutor said she couldn't comment. Then there's Argyle ISD. Regarding the accusations it did not investigate, it sent us a statement saying, in part, the district followed the guidelines and the guidance of the school board policies. So I asked twice to the district, how about the accusations that you didn't interview anyone besides the alleged victim? It did not answer. That was only a portion of the statement. I put the whole thing online.
So for 1 second, let's go back to kind of where the story started. The teenager, you've had contact, correct?
Yes, yes. Initially we did. She's now 20 years old. In a phone call, as I said off the top, she told me this is 100% true. She said if she was going to make this up, she would have made something up other than just touching or groping, and that's why she believed she was believable. She originally agreed to an interview, but then later emailed me back and said she had decided not to do it.
All right. Ginger Allen, thank you for taking us inside a wide-ranging story, no doubt.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.